So how cool is the congressman that is going to introduce our next speaker? When he spoke at Colorado Christian University this spring as a guest for our award-winning Students for Israel chapter, when I say award-winning, I mean there were 5 colleges and universities in the country, just 5, that received the National Activist Award from the Organization for Our Country's Friendship with the State of Israel, AIPAC. The National Activist Award went to CCU and 4 other much larger, none of them Christian schools. Cory Gardner was there to speak for our Students for Israel chapter, this congressman that we'll meet in a moment. We gave him a gift of that necktie that you may see around the room and which can be yours at the Centennial Institute booth. It's the 1776 electric blue Centennial Institute signature tie, and so hip is Congressman Gardner, so clearly of a younger generation than yours truly, that he said, "I'll wear the tie on the House floor and tweet a picture of it." So, Congressman, be sure to tweet about tonight's dinner. Here's an American success story of civic engagement. A young lawyer is helping his dad run a small business in the eastern Colorado farming town of Yuma, and he thinks it would be interesting to work for a congressman. And as that experience unfolds for him, he can imagine himself in public office, and he becomes a member of the State House of Representatives. And then in the year 2010, he rode the Tea Party wave like a lot of us were riding with Western Conservative Summit 2010 when we said, "Right turn, right now." And Cory Gardner was elected, upsetting the Democrat incumbent of Colorado's 4th Congressional District, and is today representing Colorado's Eastern Plains, a huge, sprawling district that he'll tell us about in a moment. For the purpose of a brief report on his work in Congress and then introducing our next featured speaker, please welcome the Honorable Congressman Cory Gardner.
Thank you. Well, good evening, Western Conservatives. How's everybody doing? What a great evening it has been. And I got to tell you, when you hear Senator Bill Armstrong speak, he's still got it. You got one more in you, sir? 2014's looking good. And thank you to John Andrews for your leadership at the Centennial Institute. This is a truly incredible evening because tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, Colorado is the epicenter of freedom in this country, and we should all celebrate the fact that we're here tonight. Earlier this evening, we heard, as John Andrews spoke, that the invitations to the governor of Illinois, the governor of New York, the governor of California went unanswered. I come here with a message tonight from Governor Hickenlooper, who said he was invited, but he couldn't decide on whether he should attend. However, he did say that he would let the next governor decide. We have some incredible work ahead of us. Incredible work to make sure that people like Mike Kaufman get reelected in Congress in 2014. To make sure that we send people like Scott Tipton, Doug Lamborn back to Congress, retaining the House majority. But it's more than that. If we look at what happened to this country over 200 years ago, when people came to this nation to look for a better way of life, when they came here because they were wealthy, because they were poor, they were looking for work, they were looking for a better way. Some brought children, some came alone, but they were all looking for one thing. And we heard it in the singers tonight. We heard it in the songs and the speeches. We heard it from Governor Walker. They were looking for freedom. They were looking for liberty. They were looking for a nation that promised greatness and a brighter future and an opportunity to succeed. If we get government out the way and let America work, we know we can once again restore the greatness of this nation. Over the past couple of years in Congress, I've been working on energy policies to make sure that we are vital, that we're harnessing the incredible resources of this nation in a responsible manner. For the first time in any of our lifetimes, we have a chance to be energy independent, North American energy secure, creating jobs and opportunity in Colorado. And we can do it while securing the world too, because people know that when we produce our own energy in our own backyards, then we take away the opportunity for nations like Iran to sell their oil around the globe. And when we take away their ability to sell oil, we protect our friends, our allies, like Israel, and our sanctions begin to work. It's because of energy production that's taking place just down the road in this country that we can see that happen. And I hope tonight we'll leave here and we'll leave this summit even more excited about the opportunities that we have. We continue to stand up for our constitutional rights. We can continue to stand up for opportunity for the next generation. And the president has said that what has challenged this country, whether it's the IRS wondering what prayer we said tonight, whether it's 4 brave Americans who lost their lives in Benghazi, whether it's phone tapping at the Associated Press, he said these are phony scandals. But you know what? Because we have the president's attention, because just the other day he started giving a speech where he pivoted back to the economy. This guy pivots more than Bill Clinton at a beauty contest. He pivoted back to the economy because he knows the direction that he has chosen is failing, whether it's the takeover of healthcare, whether it's higher taxes, more regulations. But the problem is you cannot make good economic policy by simply rearranging the paragraphs of the same speech. We need new ideas. We need new leadership. And I believe tonight the president is listening. And I actually mean that. Could you turn your cell phones off? The president is actually listening tonight. Yeah, you turn that cell phone off. That's right. That's right. We face a brighter future, though, I believe, because of the work that's being done in this room. The work by so many of you who tirelessly make phone calls, who get behind candidates who stand for the values of conservatives, who stand for freedom and opportunity, who stand for a better way of life. And in 2014, we have to get that message out. That it's not about caring for the budget because we just want to show some charts and graphs. It's not just talking about the healthcare bill because it's bad for business. But we share with the minimum wage worker. We share with the poorest amongst us. We share with the most vulnerable in our society that our ideas work to bring them opportunity, to lift them up, to give them hope for the next generation. And tonight we are joined by somebody who represents the greatest values of our nation. The energy, the enthusiasm, the excitement of the next generation of great leaders in this nation. Somebody who hails from the great Rocky Mountain state of Utah. Somebody to our neighbor in the West who understands what it's like to come to a nation with a family who pursued dreams and hopes. Somebody who understands what it's like to pursue energy independence, who believes not to become a burden on society, but to become somebody who pays society back and lifts everyone up in the process. She's with us tonight, the mayor of a small town in Utah. It's an incredible honor to introduce her, the next member of Congress from the 4th Congressional District of Utah. Mia Love, please help me welcome her.
I am so incredibly honored. Wow. I think about some of these conservatives that I've met on this journey. Think about people like Governor Walker in the job, working really hard and, having the courage to do what's right. And then I think about some of them off the job. Like I remember seeing Cory, Representative Cory Gardner, sitting down with all of his children at this fancy restaurant, and they're just climbing all over him. And, it really made me have a glimpse of what they're really fighting for and what we're all fighting for, and that is the next generation, that's our children. And so I'd like to just thank Governor Walker, and I'd like to thank Representative Cory for doing everything they possibly can to help our country be a better place. I also see some faces that I recognize. Denver has kind of adopted me, and I'm happy about that. I actually recognize a good friend of mine, Mary Sue, who last year hosted a fundraiser for me and welcomed me into her home, and I wanted to publicly thank her for being here and for showing up all the time. Thank you so much. You're a great conservative. I've often said that it is us, the people on the ground level, that's going to heal this nation, not Washington. And I still believe that. My parents immigrated to the United States with $10 in their pockets, and the hope that the America that they'd heard about really did exist. They pinched every penny. They scrubbed toilets. They were able to provide the necessities for all of our needs. As a matter of fact, they were able to send all 3 of their children, first generation, college students. And may I say college graduates, all 3 of them. They weren't into wasting money. I have to say, I do remember the first day my dad took me to college. I took him with me to orientation because he is the fun parent. My mom can embarrass me sometimes, so I took my dad with me. And he said, Mia, your mother and I have done everything we could to get you here today. We have never taken a handout. You will not be a burden to society. You will give back. And my father's advice has stuck with me throughout my life and has also just been a vehicle through my life. As I prepared to speak to you today, I thought about that message that my father gave me and what it really meant. It meant to be self-reliant, to be independent. He was trying to build a strong character so that I could care for myself, care for a family, then go on to care for a community and serve in a city. And one day, maybe he would look back at me and he would say, you know what, she was listening to what I was saying. My husband, I don't speak about him often, but I have to tell you, he's the driving force behind what I do. He is helping me in making sure we pick up where my dad left off and teaching our children that the world does not revolve around them, that they're going to have to give back one day. It's interesting because as a kid, I didn't say that I wanted to grow up and be a politician. It was more like, I want to be on Broadway, or I want to have a castle someday, or something like that. But I have to tell you, I do take great pride in teaching my children. And I do take great pride in letting my father know that I heard him loud and clear. It's interesting, as we listen to people speak, public speakers these days, you don't hear much about self-reliance and freedom. You hear things like hope and change, whatever that means. You hear things like, America needs a makeover. We need a new America. And you hear phrases like move forward, and people just kind of fill in the blanks. Elections aren't won on phrases like ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. No, they're won on what government can do for you. Their message is we are here to make your life easier in the short term. And what we need is courageous Americans to say we are not interested in making your life easier in the short term. We're interested in making your life better for generations. I know my parents, Your parents, maybe you, or your ancestors, did not come to the United States of America for easier. You came here for better. You came here to be free. And that's what we have always stood for. Many people are concerned about the direction of our country, and rightfully so. They should be. But I encourage you, please do not give up hope. Our best days lie ahead of us. There are some things we need to do. We need to rebuild that American spirit and that American character. We need to make sure that our grassroots becomes engaged, that people are not just going out and knocking on doors, but they're engaging and they're telling their stories. I compare the times that we're in now, today, to the hard times that we've faced in history. And I can't help but to think that we've been here before. We've come through, we've struggled, and we've always come through because we strive for more and we strive for better. Our American history is not about easy. It's not about gliding through. It's about who you are when things are tough. I can tell you right now, it's easy to be a mayor when things are easy, when things are going well, when the sun is shining. But you know what someone is made of when the economy crashes, when there are floods and fire, and you're out in the mud. It's who you are when the tough things happen. General George Patton was right when he said, the test of success is not what you do when you're at the top. It's how high you bounce when you hit bottom. That's our character. If you think about it, I remember hearing this story from about a boat. It was during the Carter administration, or right after the Carter administration, when things were going really bad and the economy was crashing, and America didn't really have the brightest light at that time. It was a story about this boat, the USS Midway. And as the USS Midway was patrolling the South China Seas, they came across this small boat, crammed full of refugees. I mean, the boat was leaking. It was clear that they weren't going to make it. And so the USS Midway launched a rescue ship, a rescue boat out there to try and save them, bring them aboard the aircraft carrier and to safety. And as the ship got closer, there was one refugee man that zeroed in on this young American sailor, and he called out to him. He said, "Hello, American sailor. Hello, freedom man." The reason why I tell you that story is although our light has dimmed, we have always remained that shining city upon a hill, a nation conceived in liberty, that people would risk their lives all over the world to come to. And I believe that that's still true today. Yes, we're facing some tough times, but I'm confident that America will bounce back just as we always have, just as we've always done. On our road to independence, remember, we fought off the greatest military force at that time, the British Empire. We did so again during the War of 1812. We were able to end the atrocities of slavery. This nation did that. And when Nazism threatened the world, they looked to us, and we led the charge. And we did it again by ending communism, by winning the Cold War. America's might isn't great because of the military might. It's great because of the American might. It's great because we believe in things like fiscal discipline, limited government, personal responsibility, and most of all, freedom. That's who we are. That's what we've always believed in. I believe, as did our founding fathers, that people can manage their lives better than intellectual elites in Washington. I believe that government is beholden to the people, and that the only power that it possesses are limited to what has been delegated to it by the people. I believe that we have the power to improve our economy, our communities, and we can do that. We can deliver that message and deliver that meaning with malice towards none and generosity towards all. I believe that we have an obligation to care for those who cannot care for themselves. Yes, I believe that if we have the means to care for our neighbors and end their suffering, we should do that. But I also believe that the day that I need a federal government to force me to do that is the day that I don't deserve the title American. There's much work to do. And I wish I can tell you that one day, after all of the work is done, that we'll be able to rest from our labors with everlasting freedom and liberty. But unfortunately, rest is not for the living. Rest is not for the living because freedom is always fragile. As Abraham Lincoln stated in his Gettysburg Address, it is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who have fought here have thus so far nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that those honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we are here highly resolved that the dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish on the earth. We need to have the courage to tell people our stories, all of its downfalls and all of its successes. Because I can tell you right now, the liberals are out there, and they're telling their stories and they're telling their message. And let me tell you what their message is. Their message is, the American dream is dead. It's over. That government is your solution. Give up your dreams. The government will heal you. The government will save you. The government will be your hope and change. If you are poor, if you are of a different color, or if you're female, the deck is stacked, you have no chance, and conservatives are the enemy. And unfortunately, too many people are listening to that message. So what will you say? Here's what I will say. Not just with my words, but with my life. I will show them that the American dream lives on. I will show them that the American dream is not dead. I will tell them that they can come here with $10 in their pockets with no one to do it for them. The government is not your salvation. I will say, look at my parents and know the American dream lives. Look at me and know that that can mean you. Hard work, education, and thrift will take you far beyond what any government program can ever promise. I will tell them you can work hard, you can educate yourself, you can improve your lives and you can improve your life and the life of others. And when you deliver your child to the university, you will look her in the eye and you will say, you will give back. That is what we want for all Americans. The American dream isn't just my story or my father's story. It is our story. It's a story of human struggle, standing up and striving for more, striving for better. Our story has been told for over 200 years. Small steps and giant leaps. That took courage. From a woman on a bus to a man with a dream, which took sacrifice and the bravery of the greatest generation, to our entrepreneurs and innovators of today. That is who we are. I need your help in this. We need to rebuild that American character. We need to let our children know that they're not entitled to anything they don't own, earn, work for, or pay for themselves. Let us teach them about that American sailor, about the American patriot, so that as they walk these blessed lands, that people will look to them and say, hello, American patriot. Hello, freedom man. That is the America I know. That is the America we know. May God bless you in this task. When you knock on doors, make phone calls, and you're telling your personal story, please know, think of me and know that I am with you, that Utah is with you. I will show up when you show up. When you have something to say, I will listen, and I hope that you listen also. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless this still independent United States of America. Thank you so much.
Mia Love, Mayor Mia Love. Maybe something more than mayor. How about Congresswoman? It sounds pretty good to me. Mayor Love, please be seated, friends. What a standard you set, what an example set by your family and yourself. You've touched our hearts with the personal testimony that you've given us tonight, which reaches beyond a personal testimony to a vision for what America has been and again can be if we all work together. This is why we've climbed to the summit again this summer for the 4th year, to be at the Western Conservative Summit, to have that long view from the top of the challenges that we face. Now, I have to say, Mayor Love, Centennial Institute and Colorado Christian University and the Western Conservative Summit, we don't take sides between political parties or between candidates. But our illustrator, Ben Hummel, if he had his way, he would want the Mia Love portrait to hang in a U.S. House of Representatives office down the hall from Cory Gardner and Mike Kaufman and Scott Tipton and Doug Lamborn. So Mia, nothing against the Democrat who has that seat right now, and nothing against any other Republican who might want to be interested in that seat. I'm strictly neutral up here, I want you to know. But Ben Hummel is not. Mayor Mia Love, thank you so very much.